So as the name suggests, we will be studying one dimensional or 1D wave equation. Now this one means there is only going to be one spatial variable, and the second independent variable will be the temporal variable, usually denoted by t, and the spatial variable is usually denoted by x. The dependent variable, which is going to be a function of both x and t, will be denoted by the letter u. Let me first describe the physical system which we are going to model. The physical system is going to be a vibrating string. Now this vibrating string is such that it is tightly held at its ends. So let us choose one of the ends as the origin, and let us choose the x-axis as the axis of the string. We assume that the string is L units long. So this will be the second end of the string. So between these two ends, the string is tightly held. Let me show it in pink color. So this is our x-axis and this is our u-axis. Suppose we plug this string up like this, and if we release it, it will start vibrating. The objective is, once we know the initial deflection of the string. Now what do we mean by initial deflection? By initial deflection we mean the initial displacement that we are going to provide to the string. If we do not displace it, then it will obviously not start vibrating, which will be the steady state solution. But if we deflect it initially, then the string will start vibrating, and any point on this string, its position or the vibration or the displacement is going to be function of two variables. And these two variables are, the first one, the position of that particular particle from the origin. Okay, and the second one is the variable time. Now before we begin our derivation, we are going to make some assumptions. As we do with any modeling phenomenon. So the first assumption is that we are going to ignore the effects of gravity. In short, we will not consider this particular string to be sagging down like this due to gravity. So we are totally going to ignore the gravity in our derivation, although it exists. Secondly, we are going to assume that the string offers no resistance to bending. I will tell you where we use the second assumption when we begin the derivation. And the third assumption is homogeneous string. And by homogeneous string we mean that the mass per unit length of the string is a constant. So with these three assumptions, let's now try to model the vibrations. First thing is, this is a mechanical system. And our conventional approach to model any mechanical system involves the Newton's second law of motion. Okay? Now, according to the Newton's second law of motion, sum of all external forces, the vector sum of all external forces is equal to mass into the acceleration. So we are going to make use of this thing. So as long as mass is constant, it will come outside the differentiation. Going back to this figure, we are going to consider a small section of the string. We are not going to consider the entire string. So let's do it. So if this is the vibrating string, we are going to consider a small portion. I'm naming that portion as PQ, and let me redraw it here. So this is the point P and this is point Q. We are going to assume that the position of point P from the origin is X and that of Q from the origin is X plus delta X. Now as PQ is a very small portion of the string, we may assume that length of PQ is also equal to delta X. Let's now try to show the forces which are acting on this particular element. As already stated here, we are not going to consider gravity. We are going to ignore the gravity. So the only forces that are acting on the string PQ are the tension at P and the tension at Q. Now as we have assumed that the string offers no resistance to bending, the tension at P will be tangential to PQ. Let me call it T1, and the tension at Q will also be tangential to PQ, but this time at point Q. Let's call it T2. So the string PQ is vibrating under the influence of these two forces. Let us show the angles made by these two tensions with the horizontal or the X direction. Let's call the angles as alpha and beta. This particular string is going to vibrate entirely in this particular plane or the plane of the screen. So there will not be any longitudinal vibrations as well as vibrations in that plane which is perpendicular to the plane of the screen. In short, if we consider the vector sum of the horizontal components of these two forces, then that will be equal to 0. So if we bring in the first equation of equilibrium, that is summation fx equal to 0, then we shall get T1 cos of alpha with a negative sign because it is along the negative x-axis plus T2 cos beta equal to 0, or T1 cos of alpha will be equal to T2 cos of beta. So this is the first equation that we are going to make use of. Let us now consider the motion in the u direction. Just to remind you, we are not using the letter y, we are using the letter u to denote the displacement. Now how many forces are acting vertically? The vertical components of T2 and T1. If we resolve T2, its vertical component will be along the positive u axis, and for T1 it will be along the negative u axis. So if we consider the vector sum, then it will be T2 sine of alpha, this is positive, minus T1 sine of, it should be sine beta, just a second. T2 sine beta minus T1 sine alpha equal to. Now on the right hand side we have the mass into acceleration. Let us assume that the length density of this homogeneous string is rho. And if the length of PQ is delta x, then the mass of the string element PQ will be length times the length density. So it will be rho into delta x. To this we should multiply by the acceleration. Acceleration is the second derivative of displacement, and we are calling the displacement variable as u. See, now we cannot write d2u by dt square. Okay, because we know that u is not only a function of time but is also a function of the spatial variable x. And that is the reason instead of writing it as d2u by dt squared, we write it as di bar 2u by di bar t squared. So now you may have noticed that one of the partial derivatives which exists in the differential equation that we are studying, this one, not this one, this one. Second derivative of u with respect to t, this has already come. because we have used the Newton's second law of motion. Now let us see how to bring in the second derivative of u with respect to x. The first step that we are going to do is, we are going to assume that T1 cos alpha is equal to T2 cos beta equal to T. We are saying that the tension is as good as a constant. We will divide T2 sin beta by T2 cos beta, T1 sin alpha by T1 cos alpha, and finally we will divide the right hand side by the tension T. So note that we are dividing the entire differential equation by the same constant or same thing, that is tension. But just to cancel the tensions, we are dividing them by three different representations of the same quantity. So if we divide T2 sin beta by T2 cos beta, we will get tan beta. Then for T1 sin alpha, the divisor is T1 cos alpha, so it will be tan of alpha. And on the right hand side, let's keep delta x as it is. Rho will be there and divided by t, da by 2u by da by t square. See, if we were to differentiate u partially with respect to x, we have already seen this in parametrization of curves. Partial derivative of u with respect to x gives us the tangential direction. And what is tan beta? Tan beta is nothing but the slope of the tangent. So we may write tan beta as dabba u by dabba x at q, and we may write tan alpha as dabba u by dabba x at p. Right hand side will be as it is. Therefore, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to bring in this delta x which is sitting in the right hand side. Let me bring it to the left hand side. So we'll have dabba u by dabba x at x plus delta x minus dabba u by dabba x at x. So x and x plus delta x are merely the x coordinates of points p and q. The right hand side will now be rho by t dabba 2u by dabba t square. If you divide this by delta x and then take the limit as delta x tends to 0, then we will get the second derivative of u with respect to x equal to rho by t dabba 2u by dabba t square. Now both the tension in the string as well as the length density, these are constants. We have assumed that the string is homogeneous, so rho is a constant. The convention is that we bring t and rho to the left hand side, or they accompany the derivative of u with respect to x. So we have dabba 2u by dabba t squared equal to t upon rho dabba 2u by dabba x squared. To signify that this constant is something which is greater than 0 or positive, we replace it by c squared. So that gives us the one-dimensional wave equation, dabba 2u by dabba t squared equal to c squared into dabba 2u by dabba x squared. Now our objective is to develop an approach to solve this particular partial differential equation.